Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam looked at his brothers who were there remaining with him. The others had died. Mohammad had died, Abdullah had died, and that all that remained now was Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, Abu al-Fadl, Abdullah, Uthman, and Ja'far. And that Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam looked towards them, knowing that these were his final moments. When you come to Abbas alayhi salam, you find that unfortunately for us, many of our examinations of Abu al-Fadl tend to revolve around the bravery of Abu al-Fadl only. There is hardly any other mention of what the Imams of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam have said about Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. It doesn't resonate or correlate that a man who was only known for his bravery could be admired or adored by millions in the world today. If it was just a matter of bravery, then there are many out there who are brave. However, when a person scrutinizes the literature on Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam, you find the hadiths of Imam Zayn al-Abidin or the hadiths of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam bring us with attributes that we can implement in our life from Abbas alayhi salam. If I were to ask you today, apart from bravery, what other attributes would you incorporate in your life from Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam? You'll find that many times people will struggle to mention other attributes. Whereas the likes of Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam and the likes of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, all of them have mentioned specific attributes of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam that made him reach the level that he reached on the 10th of Muharram. That's on the first level. On the second level, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam, many of the masa'ibs which were recited, say outside of the Arab world in particular, hardly ever does the Zakir or the Maulana on the Mambar ever mention the poetry of Abbas alayhi salam when he was dying. Many times, if you go to the Indo-Pak subcontinent, you'll hear a musibah 15, 20 minutes, the Maulana saying Abu al-Fadl, bravery, sword, fight, and so on. The same Maulana misses out completely what is arguably the greatest moment for Abu al-Fadl between physical injury and a person reaching spiritual prowess. In his poetry, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam highlighted the stage that he had reached spiritually. In the Indo-Pak subcontinent, I find that there's hardly ever anyone who sat on mimbar in the last 50, 60 years of the manabir of the Indo-Pak subcontinent who's ever looked at the Arabic poetry of Abbas alayhi salam. This Arabic poetry, which is detailed at length in the Manaqib of Ibn Shahr Ashub, where they discuss how Abbas alayhi salam was reciting poetry as he was dying. That's unheard of. Never in human history will you hear that someone's composing poems while they're bleeding, poems while they're injured. But that's what's called spiritual ecstasy. In the Arab world, the poems of Abu al-Fadl alayhi salam when he dies are mentioned, but are hardly ever dissected. So what you'll have is like I just quoted, يا نفس من بعد الحسين هوني وبعده لا كنت أن تكوني هذا الحسين وارد المنون. You'll hear these lines in the Arabic world, but the Maulana will say them at the end of the Masa'ib without really opening up what's happening here. What is Abbas saying? What's Abbas feeling? At the end, for us, Karbala either becomes this transformative spiritual experience, or it just becomes a story that you tell every year. What is it that led Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas to ecstasy? Number one. Number two, why did Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam not let Abbas fight? Born when? Born, as we all know, on the 5th of Sha'ban. Which year? In the 38th year or the 28th year after Hijrah, which would mean that he was how old on the 10th of Muharram? On the 10th of Muharram, 32, 33 years of age, which is remarkable. Ask yourself whether you're under 32, or you're 32, or you're over 32. What things can you list as your spiritual achievements in life? Because many times you'd imagine that when people talk about Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam, Many times you'll imagine that these same people who talk about him, you imagine that he's 50 or he's 60 from the maturity. Abu al-Fadl was born 5th of Sha'ban, 28 after Hijrah. That's Abbas bin Ali at the most minuscule level. Nothing will be like Abbas bin Ali's Iman in Karbala. Make that clear. Nothing. Nothing at all. He came towards Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam and he said to him, give me permission, please, to go out and fight. And Imam said to him, Ya akhi, anta sahibu liwa'i, you are my flag bearer. While that flag is waving, then you know Karbala never ever will be defeated. Wherever you go in the world today, what's the first symbol that shows you that there is a household of lovers of Ahlul Bayt? There's a alam. True? Wherever you go, there you'll see an alam somewhere. Imam said to him, but you're my flag bearer. The line that he then said next highlights how soft-hearted he is. Another trait of Abu al-Fadl. First trait we said was that he cleared so that his heart could see. Second, Iman. Third, soft heart. There are many who love Abbas, but their heart is they're not soft-hearted. Vicious, arrogant, antagonistic, troublemakers, just want to see fitna happen. No. A soft-hearted man. He said to him, but you're my flag bearer, he said, but my heart is hurt by seeing the way that these people have behaved against us. And I want to gain revenge on these munafiqeen in front of you. How dare they insult you like this? Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam said to him, okay, my brother, maybe you can then bring maybe some water. We go and get some water together. Go and get some water together. Now, in the Maqatil literature, both go out to the Furat. On Mimbar in our majalis, one of them stays back. In the actual book, Imam doesn't say to him, you go and get the Furat and the water and I'll stay back. No, Imam moves with him. They both come out to go towards the Furat. When they both go out to get towards the Furat, Imam sees Abbas stop and make a speech, looking at Umar bin Sa'ad. They haven't left, and he looks at him and says, oh, Umar bin Sa'ad, this is Hussain, son of the daughter of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alih. And you have killed his companions, killed his family members, and now on top of all of that, you make his woman and his children thirsty. Their thirst is breaking and killing them. And then he says something interesting. He says he has agreed to go towards India and Rome, and you could have Hijaz and Iraq. Interesting. Where did Imam al-Hussain? Firstly, Karbala. Imam al-Hussain had already said to them, let me go, I'll go to India, I'll go to Rome. Why are you guys, you've said to me that you blocked me from Kufa. No problem, you blocked me, let me go home. The moment they started to try and bully Imam al-Hussain, that's when Imam said that you try and force me, the son of Zina tries to force me between the sword and humiliation. Never will I be humiliated. But otherwise, Imam al-Hussain had made it clear that if you don't allow me to go to Kufa, then let me go home, or I'll go to India or Rome. First connotation of India and Rome. First connotation is that sometimes the non-Muslim's heart is softer than the Muslim. Umar bin Sa'ad Zami, all of them, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Rome at that time was not a Muslim country. India at that time was not a Muslim country. Yet Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam says, or Abu al-Fadl says on behalf of Imam al-Hussain that he said he'll go to Rome or he'll go towards India. That's why even sometimes people hear these stories of Hussaini Brahmins. And you hear these stories that maybe there was a group of people from India who tried to get to Karbala. I've not really seen much in the literature, I must admit. So I don't want to say stories that I've not read in the hadith literature. But you do hear stories But why would they mention India and Rome? Number one, sometimes the non-Muslim has a softer heart than the Muslim. And may Allah never show us this in our lives. That we as Muslims, we are meant to be people who have the softest heart. The beauty, even when you come to Karbala, the beauty is when you see everybody generous and hospitable and so on. That's Islam that we want to portray. Not an Islam where we want to kill each other and demolish each other and destroy each other. Abbas bin Ali said, Imam al-Hussain said he'll go to India or he'll go to Rome. Those are two places. They're not Muslim majority countries, but they were willing to take in the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he said to him, you could have Hijaz and Iraq. Have them, Baba, have them. Leave us alone. Let us go. Shibr bin al-Jawshan, noticing that these words could be effective on the opposition. When we therefore fast forward to the Maqtal, what does Abu al-Fadl do in Karbala? First and foremost, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam fought in Karbala on the 7th of Muharram. When? 7th of Muharram. Why? Because on the 7th of Muharram, the army of Umar bin Sa'ad arrogantly said that we block the water from the army of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. Now, normally we hear people say this, that on the 7th, the water was blocked. You always hear this in the narrations. Yes, it was blocked. And then Abbas bin Ali turned up. What happened was, when the water was blocked, Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam turned around to Abu al-Fadl. He said to him, take with you foot soldiers and horsemen, 50 of them. 7th of Muharram. 50 of them rode their horses or went by foot. Amr bin Hajjaj al-Zabidi was in charge of the area of the Furat. Some say Amr bin Nafi'. They were in charge of the area of the Furat. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam with his soldiers, they come towards them. Those people were blocking them. Abu al-Fadl said, none of you are going to get in our way. They fought them one by one until they got through them. They got to the Furat. They got quite an amount of water and they took it back to the tents of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. Imam al-Hussain, the water that they managed to bring back was not a sufficient amount that would keep you for a week or 10 days, but an amount that's sufficient for those younger children to at least drink, for some of the ladies to drink. So while we get to the 10th of Muharram, on the 10th of Muharram, there may be water, but not the water that's sufficient for the whole camp to drink. You might have small water bags that are there, and those water bags on the morning of the 10th of Muharram are going to end up finishing anyway, because you're not going to be able to drink enough, and you're in thirst, and you're in pain. Therefore, number one, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas and his brothers and his companions, they went out to fight. Number two, on the night of Ashura, when Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam said that all of you can leave, the first one who stood up and said, I will be loyal to you, was Abbas bin Ali. First of them. He straight away stood up and he said, Abu Abdullah, I am the one who's the first to be loyal to you. I'll stay with you. I will never leave you alone. That happened on the night of Ashura. Then you come towards the Maqtal on the day of Ashura. Let's see what the Maqtal says on the day of Ashura. I want you to understand a couple of points. Maqatil of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam are not all the same. What do I mean? When you read, for example, Kitab al-Irshad of Sheikh al-Mufid, there are parts of the Masa'ib of Abu al-Fadl that he has that others don't have. And there are parts that he doesn't have that others do have. So sometimes someone might come to you and say, if you read Kitab al-Irshad of Sheikh al-Mufid, he doesn't include the poetry of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam. Whereas Ibn Shahr Ashub includes the poetry of Abu al-Fadl. Abu al-Fadl, when he saw that Qasim had died, Aun, Muhammad, Ali al-Akbar. So what was the order we said? Ali al-Akbar, Aun, Muhammad, Qasim. Tonight, we honor Abu al-Fadl. When he saw that they had all been killed, he turned around, the Maqatil say, he turns around towards his three brothers. And he says to them first, move forward until I can see you. Obedience, one after the other. An unbelievable discipline. Move forward until I can see you. Admonishing, seeking the pleasure of Allah and His Prophet. His three brothers came out in unison with one another. There wasn't even a space between them. Three brothers. One came out, another, then Abbas. They turned around to Abu al-Fadl. Abu al-Fadl looked at them and he then said, Abdullah, move forward. Fight until you are killed, so that you would be written as one of the supporters of the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Did that Abdullah turn around and flinch? Did he get nervous? Did he get... No, not at all. He went out on the battlefield. He fought valiantly. He got killed. Another of them, Uthman, Khuli, you know Khuli, Khuwalla bin Yazid al-Asbahi. Khuli saw Abbas telling his brother Uthman, go out on the battlefield and fight. Khuli said, I'll finish this one. Khuli shot an arrow at him. He fell down. When he fell down, Khuli came right next to him, took out his sword and beheaded Abbas, his brother, in front of him. Right in front of him, he took off the head and he went like that. The Maqatil say he lifted his head and he went to Umar bin Sa'ad. He sat by Umar bin Sa'ad. He said, give me my reward now. Look at his head. Umar bin Sa'ad said to him, go and get your reward from Ibn Ziyad. What have I got to do with this reward? And Khuli had waited until he got to Kufa. He had that head with him. And he went towards Ibn Ziyad. Like the rest of them, as we come towards the later nights, where literally they just wanted some money. Even Ibn Ziyad was shocked with some of them who bought heads, where he was like, you're praising having taken the heads of the best of the best. Yes. So he killed Uthman, killed Abdullah. They killed Ja'far. The three of them had died. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam came towards Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. When he came towards Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, no one thing, Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam in his praise of Abu al-Fadl, he says something unbelievable. He says, number one, Abu al-Fadl was nafidh al-basira. He had a remarkable insight in him. What's a remarkable insight? These eyes see, don't they? These eyes, they see. So we call it sight. Insight is when your heart sees things clearly. Yeah. So if I see, I have basar. But when my heart sees everything clearly, I have basira. We have to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives us all basira. Basira. That is one thing that you should always pray. Ya Allah, give me basira, so that I can decipher between right and wrong, good and bad, truthful and liars. Wallah, there are many Muslims who have basar and zero basira. When I say zero, by the way, one day I'll write a book about my career and we'll discuss zero basira. There are many who have basar. They could see, but they don't have basira. And you develop that basira, but that basira is also a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That basira, where your heart sees everything clearly, because you'll notice that that basira is within him. Imam says, nafid al-basira. But Imam also says what? And he was also sulb al-iman. He had unwavering iman. Allahu Akbar. Our iman, we should pray, is unwavering. What is unwavering iman? I don't care who my friend circle are, they will never tempt me to do haram. That's unwavering iman. By the way, that's a killer iman. Why? Because I want to be one of the boys. I want to be one of the girls. I want to be someone who indulges in what everyone else is doing. I could always compartmentalize it by saying I'm going to Karbala or I'll do majalis at home. That'll justify the sins that I've done or delete them. Unwavering iman is that nothing gets in the way of your iman whatsoever. Even if there are 30,000 enemies in front of you telling you to do something, they cannot affect your iman. $30,000 people in front of you. And the worst thing for him was especially Shimr bin al-Jawshar. Why? Why? Day of Ashura, Shimr came forward. Where are the sons of my sister? Shimr bin al-Jawshar is a Kilabi. al-Banin Kilabi, cousins. Where are the sons of my sister? Abbas bin Ali had looked at his brothers. They didn't answer. Imam al-Hussain said, even though this is the worst of guys, answer him. Answer him. Al-Fadl Shimr said, look at us, how many we are. Why don't you and your brothers come to me and I will give you immunity? And Al-Fadl's unwavering iman, where he said, I will never leave my imam, my brother. What comes first? I will not leave my imam, my brother. When he says it to Shimr in particular, remember, he would never call Imam al-Hussein his brother. He'll never say, Akhi ya Hussein, say, Sayyidi Aba Abdullah. Yes? Or Ya Aba Abdullah. But he will never say, Akhi ya Hussein. Why? Because it's too low for him, in his opinion, to say my brother when this is an imam. Okay? So he looked at him and he said to him that we will never leave our imam. Unwavering iman. The iman is not affected. Heat doesn't affect. Thirst doesn't affect. Pressure doesn't affect. Peer pressure doesn't affect. Environment, because we love to blame the environment for why we're not religious. I would do this, but my environment, it's very... Which environment? Is there an environment like the arrows of Umar bin Sa'ad? The beauty of Al-Fadl is that the environment had no effect on him approaching Imam, saying, give me permission to fight. Shimr came forward and he said, O son of Abu Turab. He said to him, O son of Abu Turab, if this whole earth was covered by water, the whole thing was covered by water, I will not allow you to have a drop of it until you pledge your allegiance to Yazid. You pledge your allegiance. Imagine this is 215, Karbala, 10th of Muharram. Hussein bin Ali literally has to just say yes, and they would tell him, go and take your ladies home. But saying yes means giving in to the arrogance of that whole group. And the principles or lack of that group. Al-Fadl turned around to his brother. No effect whatsoever. They both went out towards the Furat. They both went. As they went, suddenly the army by the Furat, who had all gathered together, they could see Hussein and Abbas coming out. When they saw Imam al-Hussein coming out, and they saw Al-Fadl, one of the people of the opposition, he called out that get your arrows and shoot right now. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam said, may Allah make him thirsty for what he has just said. That person shot an arrow at the bottom of the neck of Imam al-Hussein. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, this was his first injury on the 10th of Muharram. An arrow that pierced his neck, but not directly under here, more to the sides, the hadith literature says. Imam turned around, the maqatil say, this is from the maqtal I'm quoting, rather than what's inherited only on pulpits from speaker to speaker. Imam turned around, came back, Al-Fadl continued. He continued until he reached the water of the Furat. How did he reach the water of the Furat? Well, there's no way you're going to reach it by everyone just moving. There would have had to have been some back and forth. And there was clearly fighting that had taken place. He gets to the water. When he gets to the water, this is ultimately the biggest jihad that could ever be seen by anyone. You're thirsty. You just want some water. And of course, shaitan can make it beautiful for you as well. That listen, drink a bit, it will make you stronger to help others. You've heard those lines, I'm sure. He sits by the Furat. And this period is a very difficult moment. It's as if time paused at this moment. But what did he say is vital. What he says at this moment is he begins to talk to his nafs now. And he's by the Furat. And he's sitting there. And he says, as the water is in his hands. And the thoughts of drinking it. There is no way there's no thoughts of drinking it. But there's no way Abbas would drink it. Al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam is not a robot. He's not a robot. The man has emotions. The man has feelings. And look at Imam Zain al-Abidin when he met his son Ubaidullah. What's the Abbas's son called? He met his son Ubaidullah and he said to him, when he saw him, his eyes began to tear up. He said, "Your Abbas, Abul Fadl's son." He said, "Rahimallah Ammi al-Abbas." Allah has showered mercy on my uncle Abbas. Why? لَقَدْ آثَرَ وَفَدَى وَوَاسَى أَخَاهُ بِنَفْسِهِ. He altruistically sacrificed for his brother his own nafs. Literally, when you get to that water, you think you're about to drink it. He looked at it. There's not much time he has. All he has to do is trying to fill and fill and fill. And now's his time to drink. He looks at the water and he says, "Ya nafs." And how many of us have said "Ya nafs" in our lives? You're about to commit something haram. Your nafs is saying to you, "No, this is haram. What are you doing?" How many times you heard that voice? How many times? Have we all heard that voice? That nafs is telling you, what are you doing? But we have mastered the art of doing haram outside the Imam Barga and doing halal in the Imam Barga. Our 9 to 5 lives may be different from our normal lives. Ya nafs! He looks at that water and he begins to talk to himself. It's a remarkable scene. It's a scene which is a PhD in psychology, a PhD in spirituality, a PhD in religiosity, in God-centricity, selflessness, sacrifice. يا نفسه من بعد الحسين هوني. O self, after Hussein, you will be disgraced if you drink this. وبعده لا كنت أن تكوني. And know that, O self, you will not be if you continue to drink this. هذا الحسين وارد المنون. That's Hussein with death approaching him, who is about to drink the syrup of death. وتشربين بارد المعين. And you are ready to drink this cold water? تالله ما هذا فعال ديني. This is not the religion that Abbas follows. Ahl al-Bayt come ahead of Abbas. That's his mind. Ahl al-Bayt, I give my life to them. How dare I drink and my master's lips are dry? How dare I drink and my sister, my elder sister, hasn't drunk? How dare I drink and my younger sister calls al-atash, al-atash. That line, Tallahi ma hadha fi'alu dini, this is not the religion that I follow, that I come ahead of Al Muhammad? No way. He decided to put all the water in the water bag and he turned around. When he turned around, in his sight, he could see the tents of Ahl al-Bayt alayhi salam. But Umar bin Sa'ad had made sure that he had got all his soldiers around the palm trees. As Abul Fadl was coming, he began to see them pop out. All of them. Imagine, what's left here? Here, there's Abbas bin Ali, Hussain bin Ali, an injured Zain al-Abidin, an injured Hassan al-Muthanna, and a couple of the younger children of Muslim bin Aqil. There, you've got 30,000 baying for your blood. He stops. Who narrates this? Hamid bin Muslim and others of the journalists in Karbala. Sisi Abbas bin Ali, stop. He's looking. And he's just talking to himself. لا أرهب الموت إذا الموت رقى. I won't run away from death, even though death approaches me. حتى أوارى في المصاليت لقى. Until I make swords smash one another. نفسي? Again nafs. Again nafs. His nafs is reaching the spiritual ecstasy which is unbelievable. But it can only be achieved through ma'rif of Ahl al-Bayt. نفسي لنفس الطهر الطاهر وقاء. My nafs doesn't exist anymore. It's annihilated in that Hussain. I'm here. You know what? I'm not scared of death because I'm giving my all to Hussain. نفسي لنفس الطهر الطاهر وقاء. إني loud. إني أنا العباس. I am Abbas. أغدو بالثقة. I'm the one who's going to come and ensure the thirst is quenched. I have the water with me. And he goes towards them one by one. They've come to attack him. There is no doubt. And he's fighting them. But some of them positioned themselves in a way where it was impossible to handle. There is no one who can handle that many. If Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam could not ward off 30,000, no one can. No one can. As he is walking and he's fighting, someone comes and strikes the right arm. Allah. You're all next to him tonight. I don't know how much of a musibah I need to really recite tonight. You've come from a long way because you love him. You've raised your children on him. Your parents have raised you with his love. Yes? How many of you wish you could be next to Alfadak? Tonight, ask for his shafa'ah, my dear brothers and sisters. Yes? All of you love him, don't you? As soon as he was struck on the right arm, normally if a human is struck on their right arm, left arm is amputated, normally they'd cry in anguish. He did. Wallah inqata'tumu yamini. Yes. By Allah, if you cut off my right arm. This is the moment of unwavering iman. والله إن قطعتم يميني إني أحامي أبدا عن ديني. Wallah, I will forever protect my deen. Doesn't matter how many people cut you, chop you, they are all metaphors for Abbas's actual cutting. That no one should stop you from protecting your deen. والله إن قطعتم يميني إني أحامي أبدا عن ديني. وعن إمام. Allah. In turn, I am protecting an imam, a truthful imam, صادق اليقيني, the truthful imam, full of certainty. But who is this truthful imam? نجل النبي الطاهر الأميني. He is the grandson of the pure prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What he then tries to do is that he doesn't want anyone from the tent to feel something's wrong. So he tries to grab the alam, tries to grab the water with his left hand. Yes. Now if I can grab it, I will try and continue to fight. Someone came and struck him on his left. Allah. I want you to picture this sight. An injured Hussain and an Abbas who's also now injured from every angle. Yes. But when you get injured, you'd think that that moment that he would turn around and be saying that, you know what, I'm in anguish, help me. No. He turned around and again spoke. Ya nafs, la takhshay min al-kuffar. Nafs, don't be scared of these disbelievers. Ya nafs, la takhshay min al-kuffar. Wabshiri bi rahmat al-jabbar. Have good, glad tidings of the merciful and what he will reward you with. Ya nafs la takhshay min al-kuffar. Wabshiri bi rahmat al-jabbar. Ma'a al-nabiy al-sayyid al-mukhtar. Ultimately, what do we want? To be with the chosen prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is what he says. But then he says, قَدْ قَطَعُوا بِبَغْيِهِمْ يَسَارِي. But they've taken off my left now as well. So what does he try and do now? Try and hold on? He tries his hardest to hold on, but there's a killer blow about to come, yes? You lose your left arm, you lose your right arm, you can still see. Isn't that true? Yes? I can still see. I can look around me. I can still see who's around me. I can still see that there are soldiers around me. I can look, yes? But Harmala bin Kahil, what he did, yes? Harmala bin Kahil with one strike of an arrow directly into his eye. Allahu Akbar. Imagine that scene, yes? He's on that horse. Once that arrow hit him, he fell onto the ground from his horse. And at that moment he called out, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. And he called out, come and help me, Aba Abdullah. Allahu Akbar. Imam al-Hussein, injured, still came running out. Even though Abu Abdullah had an injury, he came out. You all know the scene. We've all recited it for years, yes? He came and he sat by his brother's body. I said something a few seconds ago. Abbas can't see. There's blood all over. Yes. So how did he know it was Imam al-Hussein? He felt the lips of Abu Abdullah on his face. Allahu Akbar. When he felt the hands of Imam al-Hussein on his face. When he felt the hands of the Imam on his face, he moved his head from the lap of Abu Abdullah. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam put the head back in the lap. He said, no, he moved it. Why? Why would you move it? You hold my head now. But who's gonna hold your head? Allah, yes. I ask you, listen to the words of the poets. I ask you for one thing. What is it? Call me your brother. Call me your brother. Just once I want to hear you call me your brother. And I have one thing I want to reply to you. He said, what is it? He said, leave me here. Leave me here, leave me. Why? I told Zainab I'd be there. Leave me here, I told Zainab I'd be there. And if not only Zainab, Sukaina, I promised. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam left him there, yes? Imam al-Hussein says a line that really shows you what Abbas is. Al-an inkasara dhahri. Yes. Now my back is broken. Imam al-Hussein went back to the tents. Sukaina came out. She said, where's my brother? How do you explain to Sukaina what's happened, yes? Ali al-Akbar, you explain. Qasim, you explain. Aoun, you explain. How do you expect a loss like Abbas bin Ali? Yes. But if Sukaina found it difficult, then how about Zainab alayhi salam? Because for Zainab, she never thought there'd be a day there'd be no Abbas with her in her life. She thought Abbas would always be there alongside her, yes? Therefore, when you go to the Arba'een in Karbala, everybody, when they came to Karbala, went to the grave of Hussein. Zainab went to Abbas. Allah. The poets describe this wonderfully. Where were you when they slapped us? Where were you when they kicked us? Where were you when they insulted us? They laid their hands on the daughters of Rasulullah. Where were you when that young girl called out, where's my uncle Abbas?